the Friday the 13th copycat killer. A freshman was murdered and mutilated, and the number one suspect was Mark Branch. 17-year-old Mario Padilla and 14-year-old Samuel Ramirez, their influence was Scream. They had been planning to buy costumes, masks, and electronic voice boxes to murder a classmate who resembled Drew Barrymore.
He used a knife to slice cutlets of meat. The leftover meat would then be ground into sausages.
Ew, he cannibalized them?
Jessica, you're getting ahead of yourself.
This is 3 Shots In.
And today, we're talking about... Hey everyone, welcome to 3 Shots In. I'm Jake.
I'm Jess, and this is episode 33. 6.
33
This is
6.
episode 36.
36. Episode 36 of season 4.
Yes, and today we're talking about slice and dice.
Slice and dice, because it's technically one word connected with hyphens.
That's correct. Jacob insisted that it not actually be slice and dice.
No.
Slice and dice, because it's cooler, sleeker, faster.
Yeah, really in.
Right.
Neat.
Right.
Oh, well, thank you all for joining us. We had shots of Bombay Sapphire London Dry Gin.
Yes, definitely not even close to the worst we've had, but I didn't enjoy it.
I love me some gin, but Bombay Sapphire is my least favorite of the popular gins. I would rather take what's the other one that I normally do? Beefeater. I'd rather have Beefeater. Yeah, Beefeater over Bombay Sapphire.
I prefer the herbal gins, the Hendrix.
Hendrix for the win, I think. I think they're my new fave.
All right. Well, tonight we're drinking a cocktail a la agua fresca. I mixed hibiscus and mango this time instead of pineapple. I'm enjoying. I just need a little spritz of lime and a little umbrella, and then I'm transported somewhere else.
Or if this was in just a tiki shaped mason jar.
Sure.
And not just their standard mason jar that we have right now. Mm-hmm. Then that would be even better.
Of course.
Updates? You got any updates?
Nothing really for me.
I really don't got shit either. So spin the wheel. Okay, this says from Sam. I can only imagine that it means that it's from Sam.
Sweet Sam?
Hannibal Lecter is serving you dinner. How do you want your meat sliced?
You said it like it was in quotation marks.
It was in quotation marks and it was underlined.
Okay.
So, I'm pretty sure it's supposed
Hannibal Lecter is making you eat your own penis?
I don't know that's not what I got from that.
Oh.
I got he's serving me dinner. How do I want my meat sliced knowing that I'm eating people meat?
It really seems to imply to me that you're eating your own meat.
I don't think that's...
Did you not see the second movie?
Of course I saw the second movie, Jessica.
Okay, well, it says, how do you want your quote-unquote meat?
I want it in a burger.
You want to eat a Jacob burger?
Yeah, ground it up.
Okay, what's on it?
Cheese.
Yeah, what kind of cheese? There's a lot of cheese.
Pepper jack.
Oh, it's a little spicy.
A little spicy. Pepper jack cheese. Pickles. Mm-hmm. Purple onion.
Red onion.
Red onion. Tomato, but not the really big tomato, the smaller tomato. And there's 3 slices of it because they're so small.
Right.
Chipotle mayonnaise.
Whoa, that's fancy.
Mm-hmm.
You got any aioli on there?
I was just about to say 3 to 5 little dots of a Dijon aioli. Yeah.
Aioli?
That's it.
Underneath the bun?
Underneath the bun.
Toasted bun?
Right there. Of course, it's a toasted bun. It's buttered already.
Ciabatta?
No. Standard bun. With a side of... everyone shits on them. I love me some steak fries. A thing of steak fries with a ketchup dipping sauce, because it's classic. And then also, this will throw you off a little bit, a mayonnaise dipping sauce with a little bit of dill on it.
Dill?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds as though you've tried this already.
I have. At a little place called Wahlburgers.
That's famous.
Yeah. That was Mark Wahlberg's brother that was in Saw 2 and basically nothing else. Him, Dani, I think. That was his order. The Dani Wahlberg. I got his. It was great. I loved it. And I went to the original one, the first one. in Boston. And, if I'm dying and I have to eat my own meat, it's got to be good at least.
Of course.
But also in my experience, I've tried to recreate it and tried to do like mayonnaise with a little bit of dill with my fries. I've experienced it's only good with steak fries.
Steak fries.
Like it's got to be like thick fries. If you're going to be dipping it in mayonnaise, it's got to be thick fry.
I love a good steak fry. I'm with
delicious.
you. I think they're underappreciated.
Yeah, everyone hates them. Everyone shits on them.
It's stupid.
A bunch of stupid people doing stupid things.
Just personally, though.
Oh, yeah. How would you want your meat?
I would want to try my own cheeks.
Like your butt cheeks?
My butt cheeks. I feel like...
It's kind of fatty, though.
No, she's marbled.
Marbled.
Well marbled.
Okay.
And I'd have that with some like Lee and Perrins Worcestershire sauce.
Okay. I know what that is.
Sprinkle that on top. Have some like over easy runny eggs next to that. Some salt and pepper, maybe some Tabasco.
Sure. You got any toast?
Oh, yeah. Sourdough.
Sure.
Put some butter on that.
Mm-hmm. What kind of jam you got?
Oh, it's great.
It's a grape jam?
It's great. And as much as you want. Not like this bullshit where they give you like one square.
Yeah.
And then I would have some like juicy maple sausage on the side of that. Maybe like a medallion, like a nice maple medallion.
If it's more meat, then it's your meat.
It's my own sausage.
Your own sausage.
Yeah. And I got a fat fucking sausage.
What are you drinking with it?
What am I drinking? I'd have a nice, full, robust coffee, but like good cream. I like a lot of cream. I'd have like a heavy cream with that and but like a sweetened cream. You know what I mean?
Could it be? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't ask that for me because, you don't think about these things and you're very rude.
What are you slurping?
But what would I drink with my own meat burger? I think I'd want like a very full-bodied blonde ale.
That actually sounds really good.
Yeah. Well, then I think that's how we want our meat sliced.
Sounds fantastic.
I got a burger patty. You got a steak, cutlet, and a sausage.
Yep. I'm pretty sure I'm going first this time around.
You are going first. With the slice and dice topic. What did you choose? What did you choose to look into?
I decided to talk about murderers who were inspired by horror films. I have quite a lot here, Jacob.
I bet. There's a bunch of crazy motherfuckers in this world.
No shit.
And I would argue that 90% plus of this world is uncreative, cannot be creative in their own way. And so they take ideas from other sources.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, all 90% of them have jobs in Hollywood. So that's why we get the same movie every 5 years.
Right. Murderers who were inspired by horror films. We begin.
Yes.
With Mark Branch and Friday the 13th.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a band.
No, he is officially called the Friday the 13th copycat killer.
How do you copycat?
Not going to lie to you, I'm not sure how they came to this conclusion. Okay. I think they just decided...
He just wore a hockey mask and they were like, oh my God.
If even that. I think he killed a sorority girl and they were like, oh my God, it's Jason Voorhees. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's retarded. But please, I would love to hear about the murder.
It's cops. You name it and you move on. It's not really what it's about.
Cops don't name it. Media names.
Media. Well, there you go. Media chose something they thought would be like a big hit.
It's because they're not creative.
No.
Fuck these guys. Anyway.
Greenfield, Massachusetts, October 24th, 1988.
Cool.
18-year-old Sharon Gregory, a freshman psychology major, was murdered and mutilated. Sharon's body was found in her bathtub by her identical twin Cheryl.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Psychologically, it looks like yourself in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Cheryl found her identical twin sister with knife wounds to her abdomen, chest, and head.
Abdomen, chest, and head. Yikes.
One of the sheriff's deputies who handled this case said that it was one of the more gruesome in his 25 years of work.
Okay.
After the discovery of her body, a manhunt was underway, and the number one suspect was Mark Branch. Mark Branch, an 18-year-old grocery store clerk. Allegedly, he had an unhealthy interest in slasher films, especially Friday the 13th. Mark's car had been blood-stained and abandoned near the woods of Gregory's house. Interestingly, Sharon Gregory had in her possession a psychological profile of Mark Branch.
Ew.
she'd been writing an evaluation of him for her psychology class.
That's fucking weird as shit.
I know.
For one.
But then she ended up dead afterwards.
Well,
so
okay, maybe she was right.
maybe she was. So after this happened, people feared because they couldn't find Mark. People feared that more murders would occur as Halloween approached due to the nature of this murder and how gruesome it was.
Okay.
The city canceled its Halloween parade, enforced a curfew. The release of Halloween 4 was postponed. Police searched for him, for Mark Branch, for
the release of the movie?
The release of the movie, in that town at least.
Everything shuts down because of one murder?
They thought it was in poor taste. People didn't feel safe. They didn't want to encourage it.
But if anything, that makes the movie even cooler to watch.
Kinda. But, they still postponed it. The city canceled a lot of shit.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. Police ended up searching, though, for him for a month. So it wasn't until late November that Mark was found hanging from a tree by hunters in a forest in Buckland, Massachusetts.
Damn, they caught him and hanged him?
No, he had hung himself. Hanged.
Oh. Was it a month old?
Yeah.
Ew.
It looked like he had done it pretty much right after he killed her.
Yikes.
Yeah. And they just couldn't find him.
Yeah. No, that adds up.
So that's one.
That has nothing to do with Friday the 13th.
No, it doesn't. The only reason they named him the Friday the 13th copycat killer is because it was gruesome. It was a sorority girl. And because he had rented Friday the 13th and other Friday the 13th, like sequels, movies in the series, from the local,
Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Lame. And I think if he would have rented Nightmare on Elm Street, would they have called him the Nightmare on Elm Street copycat killer?
Well, it's very funny that you say that.
Is that number 2? How do you copycat Nightmare on Elm Street?
Daniel Gonzalez, A Nightmare on Elm Street. In 2004, a few months after the release of Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh my God, that movie was awesome. It was so bad.
Well, over a period of 3 days, 24-year-old Daniel Gonzalez, in a drug-crazed killing spree, murdered 76-year-old Derek Robinson and his 68-year-old wife Jean in Highgate, in England, followed by 73-year-old Mary Harding in Worthing, Sussex, then 46-year-old Kevin Malloy in Tottenham. He also attempted to kill Peter King, who was 61, and Kumis Constantino, who was 59. He confessed to police that he wanted to know how it felt to be Freddy Krueger for a day.
Well, that was all in one day?
3 days, actually. But he was also super high.
So he thought it was one. Sounds like he was killing a lot of old people that couldn't defend themselves, except for that 46-year-old and 50-something-year-old.
He seemed to specifically target old people because he'd get what he wanted out of that more easily.
Look, you get an easier kill out of it, for sure. That's why the 46-year-old lived.
He wasn't looking for a challenge, Anyway, Gonzalez's mother, during his trial, her name was Leslie Savage. She argued that her son was denied medical care for months before these attacks took place. Quote, "Every time we asked for help for Daniel, we were told we would have to wait for a crisis to occur. In court, she brought letters that she'd sent to Britain's National Health Service, begging for help. One of them read, quote, 'Does my son have to commit murder to get help? Please, please help me. This is very urgent.' As it turned out...
Yikes, that's pretty damning.
Daniel wrote to them the same, saying, 'This is very urgent. Please help me soon.' The NHS, the National Health Service, Britain's, later apologized and confirmed it should have been done. They should have done more for Gonzalez, who was nevertheless sentenced to life in prison in 2006.
Sure, that's fine. But also, yikes.
Yikes.
Big goof.
Yeah.
On their part.
Mm-hmm. And he committed suicide by cutting his wrist with a CD case on August 9th, 2007.
Damn.
Whoa.
It's not often you hear that. They were literally begging for help for fucking months at least.
Oh, I know.
And no one did anything.
Really does suck.
I'm fine with life in prison, life in an asylum or whatever.
Sure.
But dang.
Next up, Mario Padilla and Samuel Ramirez. Scream and Scream 2.
And Scream 2.
Compton, California, January 13th, 1998.
Awesome.
17-year-old Mario Padilla and his cousin, 14-year-old Samuel Ramirez, murdered Gina Castillo, Mario's mother. Mario stabbed her to death with 4 knives and a screwdriver while Samuel held her down. Gina was able to call 911 and named her son as her attacker, on record.
So he was stabbing her and she called 911?
She was able to call 911. She said, "I'm bleeding. My son, he's 16, he stabbed me."
Jesus.
Yeah.
They're worse than Scream killers.
After murdering Gina, they stole $150 in baptismal gifts for Gina's newborn, Mario's little sister,
Oh, shit.
and then planned to kill Pedro Castillo, Mario's stepfather, as well.
Cool.
The boys admitted their influence upon being arrested was Scream and Scream 2. According to one article, preliminary hearings showed that Mario Padilla had been planning for years to murder a classmate who resembled Drew Barrymore.
Whoa.
And he and Samuel planned to buy costumes, masks, and electronic voice boxes to carry the murder out.
Whoa. See, that would have been way cooler. Like, totally not okay, but way cooler.
Way more interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Compton Superior Court Judge John Chirosky disallowed any mention of the Scream movies at trial for fear of it becoming a showcase trial on the effect of violent films on teens.
Which is exactly what would have happened.
A psychologist came forward at that exact time to preach to the news about how this is what happens when teens watch violent films, blah, blah, blah. And this judge was like, you will not say a fucking word about it.
Good.
This is a murder case. The boys were tried as adults. Mario was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And Samuel was given 25 to life.
And they both got out when California decided, fuck all this life sentence stuff. Let's let everyone else out right now at the same time. All across the state.
No idea.
Because California did do that.
Great.
Yeah.
I hope that's working out well.
It didn't. It really didn't.
Last on this list, Alan Menzies.
Menzies?
Menzies.
Menzies?
Queen of the Damned.
Menzies did Queen of the Damned. He did a vampire thing? That's awesome.
Yeah, Queen of the Damned in this list that I found was listed as a horror film, but I don't know that I agree. 22-year-old Alan Menzies of West Lothian, Scotland, claimed... Scottish, yeah, we're going international. He claimed to regularly have visions of Akasha, the vampire queen played by Aaliyah.
Oh, boy.
And had watched the movie over 100 times in less than a year after its release.
Okay, well, that's why you're having visions.
Because you're already crazy, and you've watched the movie over 100 times in 8 to 6 months.
Look, I watched Haunting of Hill House 3 times within a month, and all I saw was background ghosts all the time. That was it.
He said Queen Akasha had appeared to him and promised to make him a powerful, immortal vampire in exchange for a human sacrifice. But who?
Did it matter who? Did Akasha tell him who?
In December 2002, his friend, Thomas McKendrick, quote, made an insulting remark about the film.
Ah, it was him.
He knew. This was when it was supposed to happen. Alan was sent into a frenzy, striking Mr. McKendrick on the head at least 10 times with a hammer before stabbing him.
Ooh.
He then drank some of the victim's blood and ate part of his skull. That's right,
Awesome.
Cannibalism. Before burying the body in a shallow grave that was discovered weeks later.
Okay.
3 psychiatrists determined that, yes, Menzies had a psychopathic disorder, but no, he did not have a mental illness, which would take away his responsibility in this case.
Then he can't claim insanity. Like, homie might be crazy, but he's not like, he didn't do his crimes because he's crazy.
He's mentally unwell, but not unfit.
Right.
To determine what's morally wrong and right.
Okay. We'll leave it to the experts. Right.
Well, I'd never actually seen it phrased that way before. I thought that was super interesting. It makes me think of like Ted Bundy and stuff. Like people who were obviously sociopathic, but weren't determined unfit to stand trial. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I thought that was interesting.
Dude, Gacy was crazy as fuck.
Obviously.
The Night Stalker, crazy as fuck, but he also knew exactly what he was doing. So did Gacy.
Right.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, he committed suicide in his cell in 2004.
Yeah, they all do. I mean, and I'm not judging them for that, right? If I was given a life sentence, I'll just end it too. Like, what's the point?
But it was a life sentence with a minimum of 18 years. Like, he wasn't sentenced without the possibility of parole.
That's not enough hope for me, personally.
It wasn't enough for Menzies either.
With a name like Menzies in prison, you think you're going to make it far anyway?
I do have 3 more stories, actually. One is about Dahmer and The Exorcist 3.
Whoa.
That's right. The 3rd film. One is about The Exorcist itself and its effect on one woman. in East Texas.
Ooh.
Yes. And the last is about one Michael Hernandez and his obsession with American Psycho and The Silence of the Lambs.
Both.
Both. But
So
that's locked behind a big old paywall.
Oh, shit.
That's right.
So we got a patron exclusive?
Patron exclusive. It's been a while, patrons, and I'm going to fucking treat your ass tonight.
Ooh, wow. Wow. If you want to listen to this, go to 3shotsin.com. Click the link to Patreon and subscribe, like right now.
Subscribe. Oh my God, it's so worth your while.
Do it right now. You will be wet for years by our voices and our content.
So much juicy content awaits you. Anyway, that's all I have for free.
For free. Okay, well then I guess we're ready for the break. Because you have 3 more stories? Was it 3 stories?
Yes.
3 stories. Oh shit, that's right. Paywall, 3shotsin.com, Patreon. Do it now.
Slice and dice.
You can slice and dice all of your onions and tomatoes.
Pretty much any vegetable.
They can all be sliced and diced.
They can. You know, vegetables are really good for you.
I've heard this.
I hear quality products are really good for your wallet.
Ooh, because they're affordable and quality?
Exactly. You know who provides that exact thing?
Who?
Our sponsors. That's right. Tilted Tinker, Woodcraft and Wizardry. They are a company that makes woodcraft products.
Like plaques with all sorts of hilarious sayings and coasters with sarcastic twists.
All of that dry humor is mixed in with Dungeons and Dragons accessories like dice towers, dice dungeons, and DM screens.
Everything is made here in the USA.
Yes, a family-owned business. They use American wood in American hands. You can visit their website at tiltedtinker.com. Reach out to them at info@tiltedtinker.com. They are Tilted Tinker on all their social medias.
That's Tilted, Tinker. You should go and buy something from their website because they're awesome.
And they love us, just like we love you.
You ever been slicing and dicing onions and you start crying?
Like all the time.
Your eyes just water up and cry?
At least twice a week.
Well, I've heard that people, their eyes water up and they cry when they're hungover
I definitely consider it.
because they're having just a bad time.
Being hungover sucks.
It sucks. And you could change that with Party Patch.
That's right. It cures your hangover symptoms with vitamin B, with taurine. It's amazing. It's a sticky, stinky little patch that you can slap onto whatever you want, any part of your own body.
Yeah, just slap it on, go about your night of drinking, and the next day, you won't have a hangover and you won't weep and sob and cry.
Tear-free.
Go to 3shotsin.com, follow the link to Party Patch. Be sure to use code 3shotsin at checkout because that'll get you a smooth little 10% right there off of your order.
10% off? That
10%.
sounds fantastic.
10%. You can take that 10% and you can buy your significant other something nice.
Or subscribe to Patreon, whatever you want.
Oh, that's what you should do.
Hey, Jake.
Yeah.
Slicing and dicing,
Uh-huh.
it means to like cut things into pieces.
Yeah. Little tiny pieces.
Right. You know, when you pour something,
Mhm.
it's kind of like a liquid inside of a bottle is, exploding into multiple different particles as you pour it from the bottle into a glass.
Well, the particles remain the same. Newton said that.
Newton would probably also appreciate this 3 Shots in affiliate. Pour more.
You know what? Sir Isaac Newton would love Pour More because Pour More is a liquor subscription service that just for a measly amount every month, you could have a bottle of liquor delivered to you or a loved one. That's right. You can buy this as a gift, and the holiday season is creeping up on us.
It is fast approaching. A brand new bottle of booze at your doorstep every single month. That sounds amazing.
Go to 3shotsin.com, click the link for Pour More, and subscribe. So we've gone through a lot of this recording, and we haven't once talked about the Knives Out Britney moment.
That's true. We did briefly acknowledge with a little It's a little funny little video we shared on our Instagram story.
Yeah.
And subsequently that was shared to our Facebook story.
But like we haven't discussed the fact that Britney Spears did a dancing video with 2 chef's knives.
Yeah.
And she was clinking them and slicing them together.
I just got to say, I've been watching her do weird little spins and twirls and hip thrusts on her Instagram for a really long time.
Yeah. Like, I don't want her to be absolutely fucking batshit crazy. But like, dude, I believe it.
It just isn't a shocker to me at all that she brought in props.
To really amp up
Yeah.
her dance routine.
Yeah.
No, I feel you.
I had made peace with it far sooner than the public, I feel like. The break is done.
It is.
We finished it. Terry is here now.
Yes, we have picked up
Another straggler.
a straggler amongst the break.
Yes.
Terry, are you ready to answer the wheel spin of the slice and dice?
Sure.
All right, Jess.
The
go ahead.
random-
No. Stop it, Jess. Let
Oh.
Terry spin it.
Oh, but it's so far away.
It's okay.
A great spin
Well done.
from distance.
Indeed.
You can have lunch with one blade-wielding villain. Who would you choose? A blade-wielding villain
Yeah.
Can I have lunch?
that I
with
can have
him?
lunch with?
Buildings.
So you're
I
not
choose
gonna-
Michael Myers.
Oh,
He'd be absolutely silent the whole time.
it's a good lunch.
I could play my favorite podcast out loud and just, eat my food.
Oh, I was expecting we'd be at a restaurant getting lunch.
Yeah, no, same. My thought was that he just chose not to speak. I watched the first one and I watched the Rob Zombie remake, and I think that's all I've seen. He doesn't feel like conversation, and I don't want to talk about myself this whole time.
He just wants to murder.
So I'll find something that's interesting to the both of us.
What if? Well, you wouldn't know if it's interesting.
But it's my best guess. You see what I mean? Without any input from the other party. I'm trying my best to make sure that we're both entertained
The whole time.
and
it's
having a good time.
Yeah, he's just sitting there. He's not even eating.
Just,
Yeah.
He got a filet mignon. That shit's expensive. And he's just sitting there.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
I know, right? No doggy bag either.
Just leaves it. He's a bad tipper too.
Well, what about you guys?
Captain Hook.
Captain Hook.
Dude, he would hook it up with like caviar and all kinds of shit.
He'd be really bougie.
Yeah. That'd be a great lunch. Spared no expense.
What was the question again?
Villain. Blade
You
wielding
can have
villain.
lunch with one blade wielding villain.
Oh, Captain Hook has the hook for his hand.
Well,
He also has a sword.
He has a sword
He's a
'cause he's
saber.
pirate.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's a pirate. Idiot.
Okay. Well, what about you, Jacob?
Probably want like crock stew.
A blade wielding villain. I'm going to go with something unconventional, as I do.
All right.
I'm going to go with Darth Vader.
He doesn't wield a blade.
He does wield a blade.
No, a lightsaber
It's a
is
saber,
it's a laser.
which is a sword.
It's not a blade.
Okay, well then fuck that. The Hound from Game of Thrones from seasons 1 through 4 when he was still a villain.
You'd
Nice.
still have so many chickens.
Oh, so many
So many
chickens.
chickens. He'd hook you up
Dude,
with
he
so
would
many
drink me
chickens.
under the table, but I'd still challenge him anyway.
You'd take him to Raising Cane's.
Yeah. Dude, he'd called me like a fucking dimwit or whatever, like every time he talks to me, he just offends
He'd
me.
call you a cunt.
He bullies you.
Yeah, just attacks me verbally. Seasons 1 through 4, Hound, when he's a villain, not when he becomes a good guy after his fake death,
I still loved him even after that.
which was a cop out.
I did too, actually.
yeah.
He's still my favorite character. Me and Dani are watching it. We just got to season 8. She just watched The Long Night. Boy, watching it a second time, which
It's even worse.
was weird because I've watched all of Game of Thrones multiple times, except for season 8, which I've only watched the once. And
You've avoided.
Rewatching it with Dani, I was like, oh my God, it's even worse than I remember.
Even worse than I thought.
Send all of my reinforcements into the dark.
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah, I can shit.
Lots of very shitty
I
choices.
can shit on The Long Night for hours.
All right. It sounds like we have satiated the wheel. We answered all of its questions
We have.
in all of the facets it could have.
Now it is time for me to talk about a little slice and dicing.
Yes.
It is time to hear about the Butcher of Hanover.
Hanover where?
Hanover groin. Just kidding. Hanover, Germany. So Fritz Harman, born October 25th of 1879. He had 5 older siblings. His mother doted on him as Fritz was her special boy.
Oh.
special little baby boy.
So he's going to be serial killer then.
No one said that. As a child, Fritz loved playing with dolls, wearing dresses, and he avoided playing with other children, especially other boys. He was mommy's special boy. Now, wanting to toughen him up, Fritz's father sent him to military school in southern Germany in the city of Brasik at the age of 16. Again, I guess I didn't state. This is all in Germany, and I'm going to mispronounce probably everything. So Fritz apparently enjoyed his time in military school, but after just a few months, the school dismissed him due to his discovered condition of homosexuality.
Oh my goodness.
Just kidding. They dismissed him because he has epilepsy. Yeah, big deal. You can't be in the military when you got epilepsy. So Fritz, then he went back to his father and he began working in his father's cigar factory, and he did very well for himself there. But then the police came. They captured and charged him from molesting young boys.
Oh, no.
That's right.
Reminder.
That's right. And Fritz was then sent to a mental asylum for his homosexuality.
But not the pedophilia?
That's a crime.
Yeah.
Homosexuality in late 1800s Germany was a mental illness. After being in the mental asylum for 6 months, Fritz managed to escape and he fled to Switzerland. While he was in Switzerland, Fritz got engaged to a young woman, the name of Erna Lowert or Lovert. But when Erna became pregnant, Fritz managed to escape and he fled to Germany, right back home. He left that bitch in Switzerland. He joined the military. I guess military school doesn't send records to the country. He joined the military in 1900, 21 at this time. But due to his epilepsy and his probable mental illness, is what they said, Fritz was then hospitalized in 1901 and was dismissed from the military in 1902. After leaving the military, Fritz lived off of his pension, because I guess he got a military pension for being in there for a year, which was increased, by the way, in 1904 when he was officially classed as disabled. His epilepsy
Right.
made him disabled, so the government just gave him a fucking check every month. But this check wasn't enough. So Fritz decided that he would need to supplement his income, and he did this with petty crimes, burglaries, and, classic cons.
Of course.
Yes.
As you do.
In 1913, okay, he was 34 at this time, police were fed up with Fritz's constant petty crimes, and he was sentenced to 5 years in jail for a burglary, which was like the max of anything. They never really do that, but they did, because fuck this guy. And this allowed him to sit safely in prison during World War I.
Ah.
Well,
Yes.
he was booted anyway, so it's not like he would have gotten.
Yeah, but you can have epilepsy and still, use a mop. You know what I mean?
I guess.
They would have
That's-
given him some kind of responsibility.
That was told to me a long time ago. I was like, I can't be drafted because I'm colorblind. And they were like, homie, you don't need to see colors to use a mop. I was like, oh, goddamn.
You're just a janitor now.
Yeah.
Barnacle scraper.
While in jail, Fritz met 24-year-old pimp, Hans Grans. Thought you like that. And he soon fell in love
With Hans?
with Hans Grans. Yes. When they were released from jail in 1918, they moved in together. While the German Empire was crumbling, okay, after World War I, Fritz took up 2 jobs after he got out of prison. One, with a gang of smugglers.
Ah.
Easy job, he knows how to do it well. The second, as an informant for the Hanover police.
Oh, my word.
That's right. He was a fucking rat. So, September 1918, he's 39 at this time. 17-year-old Friedel Rowe ran away from home and disappeared in Hanover. Rowe's father asked around and heard that his son was seen being friendly with one Fritz Harmon. Now, apparently, Fritz was known to often take young boys to his apartment for, quote, a bit of fun.
Oh.
Yes. Rowe went to police, but they were reluctant to do anything because Fritz was their most valuable informant. But Rowe was really annoying and police were like, fine, fuck it. And so they entered Fritz's apartment in a surprise raid. They found him in bed with a 13-year-old boy.
Oh. Oh.
They searched his apartment, found no sign of Friedel. Fritz was actually arrested for indecency with a minor, but, just got out probably the next day or whatever.
What year was this exactly? Again?
1918.
This is back in 1918.
Early. Okay.
Yeah. Just after World War I, Germany just got stomped on. They
Sure.
probably don't got the infrastructure to really support petty crime in prison. Anyway, years later, Fritz made it known to police. Okay, this is many, many years later. He made it known to police that they clearly didn't search his apartment too hard because Friedel's head was tucked behind the stove while the police searched it.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know how you fit a head behind a stove, but he did it. So that's just a little taste as to how terrible we're going to get. This is really bad. Sorry, guys. In 1919, Germany's economy was in bad shape. Many families struggled to put food on the table. Okay, Germany was getting shit on by literally the entire world. Throughout the early 1920s, Fritz spent his free time hanging around the Hanover train station. He was looking for teenage boys to bring home with promises of food and comfort.
Aww.
Mind you, he is still with his love, Hans Grans.
So-
They still live together.
So sad.
Fritz had a lot of variety to choose from at the train station, as many post-war hardships led to thousands of children running away from home during this time. After feeding the boys and getting their clothes off, Fritz would give them what he called a love bite.
A hickey?
You're supposed to ask, what is a love bite?
What's a love bite?
A love bite was a fatal bite through the boy's windpipe.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Probably a bad way to go. Anyway, he would then rape their corpse before he began dismembering them.
Ooh.
Yes.
This is very Gacy.
Oh, it's horrible. That's very Gacy.
Yeah.
That's for sure. He's a lot like Gacy. We'll get into that. He used a knife to carefully slice cutlets of meat off the boys. The leftover meat that couldn't be formed into cutlets would then be ground into sausages.
Ew, he cannibalized them?
You're not listening. We'll get to it, okay? Don't assume. Well, he then dumped whatever remained of the boys in the River Line.
Lein?
Yeah. Und Line River
Das
is probably how they
Line
would
River.
say it. Yes.
Yeah.
So what did he do with the fillets and the sausages?
Jessica, you're getting ahead of yourself. Families that lived in Hanover, they loved Fritz.
Okay.
And that's because he sold them cheap secondhand clothes as well as cheap beef and pork.
Oh, no.
What's the name of the chick from your movie that you love?
Mrs. Lovett?
Yeah.
Yeah. He Mrs. Lovett did this shit. It would later come out that Fritz's boyfriend, Hans Grans,
The pimp.
would help select the boys because he wanted some of their items of clothing. He was jealous
yikes.
of their clothing and wanted them. By the way, if you didn't get this, the beef and pork wasn't actually beef and pork.
I did get that. Yeah.
It was all
Boy meat.
boy meat.
Gotcha.
Yes. Anyway, in May of 1924, children who were playing by the river line found a skull. Yes. Authorities were contacted and they found several more skulls. The river line was then dragged and they uncovered the bodies of at least 22 teenage boys or young men.
Yeah.
Couldn't really decipher because, they were just bones. The city was very quickly in panic. Suspicions grew towards Fritz Harman since he was known for bringing runaway boys to his apartment. This makes sense. The Hanover police were deemed too close to the case because Fritz was their favorite informant, as they called him. So detectives, two detectives from Berlin were called in and they arrived to take over the investigation. Now they began following Fritz as he was their lead suspect, right? They really had nothing to go on. And very quickly, they found him attacking a teenage boy at the Hanover train station. Easy arrest.
Yeah.
They arrested Fritz and were now able to search his apartment as he is a criminal. So detectives found blood stains all over the walls and floors of his apartment, stains that he just couldn't scrub out.
Oh, so there was evidence that he tried?
Oh, deep stains. Like,
Yikes.
yeah, not like fresh blood, like deep stains of blood all over the walls and floors of his apartment, as well as over 100 pieces of clothing that were assumed to be from his victims.
Oof. This is sounding very
Dahmer?
Dahmer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very Dahmer.
He ate people, didn't he?
He did.
Never once in my readings did I read that Fritz ate his victims.
He just turned
just
them
sold
into
them.
He just sold the
fillets
meat.
and sausages.
He just sold the meat to poor families.
He made other people eat them.
Dude, they loved him because he sold them cheap meat.
Yikes.
So that they can feed their children and make them strong little German boys. Fritz was now in custody, obviously, and they found all sorts of damning evidence against him. And so they questioned him. They asked him if he was the butcher of Hanover, and he happily confessed to his crimes. When asked how many boys he'd killed, he casually replied, quote, 30 or 40, I don't know.
Oof.
Though later he redacted that statement and said it's probably closer to 50 or 70.
50 or 70?
Yeah.
Become so regular that it's like butchering pigs.
Police were only able to identify 27 of the boys, and so Fritz Harman was charged with 27 counts of murder. A trial date was set very quickly in Germany. They were not about to let this stand, right? Germany needed to make a name for themselves at this time. So in court, Fritz was said to be very rude. He apparently smoked cigars during the entire trial, which, like, why give him cigars? But they
Right.
did. And apparently he insulted everyone that was present in the courtroom. A father with a missing son showed a picture of his son to Fritz, asking if his son was one of Fritz's victims. Fritz shouted at the father, saying he could never have had anything to do with that child, as he was far too ugly.
Wow.
They only chose pretty boys, apparently.
Of course.
Fritz Harman was found guilty of 24 out of the 27 murders. Didn't have enough evidence for the last 3. And he was sentenced to death by guillotine. At the age of 45, he was decapitated on April 15th, 1925. Now, that wasn't the end of the story, because Hans Grans was still out there. Hans Grans was sentenced to life in prison, but the sentence was later dropped to 12 years.
Why?
He knew of everything that was happening.
Oh.
He didn't partake in the killing, but he selected the boys because he wanted their items.
I recall.
Terrible person. For some reason, dropped to 12 years. Fritz Harman's head, after it was decapitated, was preserved in formaldehyde and given to the medical school in Göttingen.
Yikes.
For
Yes.
what?
Dude, I don't fucking know why
you
his
studying?
head
Like-
was in formaldehyde. There is no answer for that other than it happened. All of the victims remains, so the 27 bodies they found, were buried in a mass grave, which is, kind of weird, but nice, I guess. I didn't know this. This was a very fun fact, because this is a very, very, very good movie if you're down with subtitles. Fritz Harman inspired the classic 1931 thriller M. Have you heard of it?
No.
Very, very good movie. Police and criminals work together to find a pedophile / serial killer in Germany.
Okay.
Really good movie. Totally based on this guy, but a little dramatic, more dramatic
Sure.
for movie. So we're gonna go into just a quick ending and then a little bit more fact
Okay.
about what happened in the middle there. So Hans Grans, he was released from prison after 12 years. He continued living in Hanover, and he died at the age of 86 in 1975. And in 2015, the medical school in Göttingen cremated Fritz's head, said they wanted nothing to do with it anymore.
Why?
I don't know,
Okay.
just because. So this story actually means a lot more to Germany
Okay.
than would let on, mind you, probably their worst serial killer ever. But also because of Fritz and Hans and their actions, Germany started to grow even more hate for homosexuals.
Ooh.
Homosexuality was already illegal in Germany, but most people just kind of were like, yeah, whatever though.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to
How are you gonna
charge you
enforce
for
that?
homosexuality.
Are you going to
Like,
stand over my bed at night to
yeah.
make sure I don't
Like,
bring anyone in?
whatever, just don't commit actual crimes.
Right.
That's how the Germans were before Fritz and Hans.
Clearly not, because they gave him bullshit sentences for actually harming children, but made a bigger deal out of him being a homosexual. And it's
yeah.
like
That's
he
obviously.
had a pattern of hurting children. Like, that's not a minor crime. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Anyway, the Germans in Germany at this time were started to be very hateful towards homosexuals and would attack them, kill them, All sorts of shit happened during this time. And this actually built the very strong case of anti-homosexuality within the Nazi party. Experts, I don't claim to be one, experts assume that the Nazi regime basically were able to attack and kill homosexuals because of this. It was even easier for them.
Okay.
Basically, no argument needed to be made because they already hated them. The hate was there. They just funneled it into a evil little...
remember this thing that you all really didn't like? It's because of them.
It's because of them. Yeah. Yeah. The world would be a better place without them.
Yeah.
Long live the Third Reich and all that. That's the type of shit that went down because of Fritz Harman and Hans Grons.
I feel like whenever you guys blow up, that clip is going to get like clipped. Long live the Third Reich.
Long live the Third Reich.
God,
Dang.
I hope that does. That'd be hilarious.
You anticipated that I would be disgusted by the video or the notes that you shared.
It's gross.
Well, it super is, but it just isn't the most gross thing you've shared here.
That's because I didn't go into detail of him love biting 50 to 70 boys.
No, you didn't. But like I said, it still isn't as gross as, I don't know if you recall, you talked about...
The French Lord?
No. Yes. Yeah, that was terrible. But also the dentist.
Dentist.
Yeah, do you
Talked
remember
about
him?
a dentist?
A very rich dentist. The worst dentist in the world. He had no boundaries, if you recall. Anything was game. Animals, children with conditions.
This is all news to me.
He was very drunk that night.
It was an episode with Tony and Joey. It was a very long time ago, but it was so awful. I consider it always when you share any notes like this. When I think
You compare them
always
to that one.
Always.
I gotta go back.
That's your magnum opus.
Apparently, I gotta go back and listen to my dentist episode.
You must.
I remember your dentist episode.
Do you?
Yeah,
Which
your
one?
your dentist was a stalker.
No, she stalked a dentist.
Oh, she stalked a dentist.
My dentist story was a lady who was obsessed with a dentist and she snuck into his home after he had fucked his girlfriend and she stole a jizz-filled condom out of his trash and then
Gargled it or something.
no, she turkey basted the jizz into her own pussy and then went and reported him for rape afterwards. She was that crazy.
That is pretty fucking crazy.
It's wild.
Dude, that's why, did you hear fucking Drake, the rapper? He, after he's done having sex with,
Anybody?
Woman, whoever, that he goes to the bathroom to take his condom off and throw it away. And he puts hot sauce. He dumps hot sauce into the condom so that the sperm is no longer usable.
So that no one can get pregnant.
So that no one can take the sperm out of the trash can and
impregnate themselves.
turkey base themselves.
Players gonna play?
Hey, players gonna
Honestly,
play.
though, when you're that famous,
Yeah.
it sounds crazy, but people are that crazy for people who are that famous.
He was truly good at ass coverage. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Must have been. Okay, Jessica, go ahead and spin the final wheel.
I will.
Wheel.
You are stuck on the spaceship Nostromo with the xenomorph alien.
Yes.
Which blade-wielding villain do you summon for help? The first one was, who do you want to have lunch with? A blade
Now this one
wielding
is,
villain.
Who's
This one
defending you from
who
the
do
xenomorph?
who do you summon to help you fight the xenomorph so that you may survive?
A motherfucking predator.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
They
great
literally
answer.
hunt them for a living.
That's a good
true.
one. You can't take it. Don't you dare.
Why?
He got it
I
first.
said it first. I was there first.
Hey, and you're
called
wearing your xenomorph shirt too. Look at
I
that.
am. Look at it's from the shitty one though.
The shitty one.
Yeah.
It's from Alien Resurrection.
Resurrection.
That movie's so
That
bad.
is the shitty one.
Alien 3 was pretty bad.
I was like, Alien 3 looks like a great movie compared to
Resurrection's
Resurrection.
really bad.
I have my choice.
Okay.
Beatrix Kiddo.
You consider her a villain?
She's a villain.
She's the hero of that story.
She's a villain who has to kill, promises to kill other villains and admits that she's a villain herself. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. Give us all 5 stars on Spotify, Apple Podcast.
Yes, and don't forget to share this podcast with all of your friends and family. Maybe you share it with that guy down the street who likes to invite, homeward bound teenagers. Does that work?
Homeward bound?
Is that the term?
I don't know what the
Homeward bound?
Teens that are trying to get home?
Runaway?
Jacob, what's our topic for next episode?
Next topic is medieval.
Medieval.
Getting medieval in this
Ooh.
bitch. Maybe we'll be drawing and quartering. Maybe we'll put someone to
the flame.
is it the block?
I don't know.
The rack. Put them to the rack.
Yes.
I don't know what any of this is. Except I know what drawing quartering is. Fuck that.
Yeah, it's awful.
We're getting evil. Medieval. It's going to be horrible and awesome and gross.
To all of you who are patrons currently, please be reminded that you have the opportunity to access all of our 3 Shot Cinema content and any extra 3 Shots In content on Spotify. All you have to do is connect your Patreon and Spotify content or Spotify accounts.
That's right. Terry, thank you for taking the proper precautions and medications and exiting your iron lung for this night.
I'm about to go lock myself back into it right now.
You
Right.
probably should. You sound a
Can
little
you wheel
sick.
me?
Yeah.
Sound a little sick over there.
Yeah.
Oh my
He
God.
only leaves his iron lungs so that we can make love.
That's
Really,
sweet.
I just kind of lay there.
Isn't it nice?
She just takes the little helmet off, just sits on your face, and you just cry. You just cry. She gyrates.
God.
We keep it alive as best we can.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We're gonna go now. Bye.
See you next time.
I can shit on the long night for hours. Let's put the cavalry at the very front. Let's put all of our siege weapons
Outside the gates.
outside in front of our army.
Also, we have dragons.
We're fighting an enemy that can raise the dead. Let's put all of the people who can't fight, like the women and the weak little children and the old people, let's put them all down in the crypts where there's nothing but thousands of years of corpses. And then lightning fast ghost ninja Arya who can jump from 30 feet in the air while she's on the floor. They showed her run past the other White Walkers. Oh, what was that? And then out of nowhere, she's coming from 20 feet above. David Benioff and DB Weiss, you're dead to me.